Hey guys, it's me Neon, and today we're just looking at this actually less wild story. This dad who literally tried to take this car just away, like he literally just kind of tried to rob her. But yeah. Hope you guys liked the video. If you do, just please be sure to like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton. And yeah, let's get into it. My father is trying to take a car away from me that he gave me for Christmas. Okay, just to start this off, when I was 18, my father gave me a car for Christmas in the hopes that it would help me while I was in college. He considered it a late graduation present alongside my Christmas present. He told me I could just do whatever I wanted with it. I could trade it or sell it or basically just whatever I needed or saw fit. Now, about 2 years later, he's going through a falling out in a sense. He's divorced. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad that he has found happiness in a fiance, but he would, in a sense, place her kids above me. He would buy them expensive gifts and get them pretty much just whatever they wanted with no questions asked. But with me, though, it's pretty much just third degree or just the cheapest thing you could find. I don't really complain about it because I would normally just pay for the things I wanted or needed. But I mentioned the whole thing to my father because I told him I don't necessarily feel welcome there because his whole house is just covered with photos and achievements of her and his kids. None of them are even me. There's even a room dedicated to them. His response was that I was blaming her for that, and how the photos that he had of me weren't that good to be displayed. A long, a long story short, he came to the conclusion that he didn't want me to be a part of this new quote-unquote family, and that I was being disrespectful and ungrateful. The argument lasted for a whole week, and it always ended up with us fighting at night, until he eventually told me to just get out of the house, called me a jerk, and said I was never allowed in his home or my room, and that I will now be considered for using the guest room if I ever need to come here, but he probably won't even let me stay there. There was a lot more stuff that he said, and I was considering on putting, but none of it really made the cut. But in order to get to this point, I will not go into details. Long story short, he really just hurt me. Now, at this time, this really affected me, but now it just really doesn't because he would just constantly give stuff out of my room anyway, and I didn't really feel welcome there, so I would just often just end up sleeping on the couch, especially if relatives came over because he just kicked me out of my own room. But it was the only room he would ever give up, and never his fiance's children. They were all older than me or a year younger, and either in college, out of state, or married. Only one of them is in high school, and there are so many rooms. I didn't have to deal with it much because I wasn't with every other parent on the weekends. I live with my mom, and my dad will only ask to see me when he wants to or every other holiday. And he will send me away whenever he gets tired of me or whenever I'm no use to him, and he'll just try and leave this whole thing in my head. A few days ago, his fiancée sent me a 4th of July barbecue invitation. I just chose to ignore it because I hadn't really talked to my father ever since the beginning of the year. And I felt it was just going to be an absolute, just horrible time for everyone there, and I would just mess it up. But, yeah, it should have just been directly from him, but then a few hours later, he just sent a follow-up on the same invitation. He stated a text that had been sent to me, but it was two different messages. The one he had quoted sent did much more friendly than one I'd actually gotten. So I had texted him along the lines of how I felt and how he'd what he'd told me before I got kicked out. How it wasn't my home and that I was never allowed to come back there. Asking him why now he was trying to get me to come home of all things. Now my father is a just very proud person and loves to see his name in pretty much everything. He once literally gave me a computer and put the account in his name while setting up. He didn't let me do it. Well, he also gave me the car that he had given me as a gift in his name as well. And me trusting my father at the time, I didn't think he would hold it over my head. After the conversation, he demanded that I give him the car back, stating that I'm selfish, ungrateful, and disrespectful towards him. After telling him no, he gave me an ultimatum stating that I either give him the car by the middle of June or I owe him $5,000. He knows I don't have this money because I'm a college student who's paying my tuition myself, with no help from him. And if anything, he actually cost me some money because of how much I've had to help him. But a few scholarships I have earned have helped with that. Both options I declined because I didn't really want to do either. I didn't think I would have to pay for a gift that my father had given me as a Christmas present, of all things. And then he threatened to call the literal police and report the car as stolen, which I then told him to go ahead and do so or bring me on court. I will admit I was a bit heated in this conversation, but after a while I did just calm down. I wanted to try and talk civilly with him and find a common ground, to which he replied, "It's either you leave that car with the keys in it, or you give me $5,000. That's the middle ground." Into discussion. After that, I still asked if we could talk about it, which he responded way more rude than he ever was before, but yeah, what do you expect? Now I have multiple texts where he said your car, but it's still a bit of a gray area. The only thing I have that's at least solid is I have a text where I asked him if he gave me his car without any intention of him paying me back or telling me to pay him back. His response is, "I am now." He also said that I could keep the car in front of his fiancée. The only problem is that if she will speak the truth when it's brought to the court, I'm not gonna lie, I am a bit scared about what's gonna happen because she kind of just is psychotic, and at the same time I really don't want him to have to be able, or not have to, but to be able to walk all over me, especially when I'm trying to express just how badly I feel because of him. Seriously, he's literally just trying to, like, make you feel horrible and just guilt trip you just because he wants the car back, which he gave you many years ago. I mean, like, I don't feel like many people would just, like, be chill with you, just, like, giving them something and then just taking it back, like, 5 seconds later, but, yeah, that's just this guy for you. He's just an absolute jerk. It kind of is just depressing that people can just actually just be that way. I mean, seriously. Why? Just why? I mean, you're a grown man. Are you seriously going to take back a car that you gave to your own child just because your new fiance or whatever is mad? I mean, come on, this is kind of just sad. But, yeah, let's get into the new one. Entitled mother tries to drop off her child after he's been sick the previous day, twice. I work in childcare with kids aged 3 to 5. I love working with children, but sometimes the parents, as you can imagine, are not the most fun to work with, especially this one. Around lunch a week ago, this kid was eating his lunch when suddenly he threw up. We rushed him to the toilet and comforted him. We called the entitled mother of this story and told her that she had to come and pick him up. She said that she would and hung up. A few hours passed and we had to call her again. She promised that she was on her way, only a little earlier than her usual pickup time she showed up. Our policy states that the child can't come back for another 48 hours after the last time they were sick. They left that day and went on as normal. The next day, we were outside letting the kids get some fresh air when the door went open. We were all confused as all of the kids that were supposed to be there were just already there. My colleague answered it, and there was the entitled mother with her kid yet again. Before my colleague could even say anything, she practically just forced her son in through that door and ran. We both panicked because you don't really expect like a reverse kidnapping where they force you to take the kid, but yeah, we probably weren't just trained too well on that. But after that, we went to our boss, who said it was all right, since neither me or my colleague had had to deal with a situation like that before. She assumed the entitled mother wouldn't pick up her phone, and we didn't want to traumatize the poor kid, so we just let him stay. A few days ago, almost a week after the original incident, near the end of the day, the exact same kid wasn't looking too well. We took his temperature, and it was on the cusp of a spike. Then he ran to the bathroom and vomited yet again. We called the entitled mother. She didn't pick up the first time, but the second time she did. Just really mad. We explained the situation. She told us that she's on her way, really mad, and just hung up. This time she was true to her word, but that might just be because this was near his regular pickup time. We stressed that we would not be allowed back for 48 hours time, and then she walked away without a word. The next day I was answering the door. When I was about to bring in another kid, the entitled mother turned up again with the poor kid. I could sense the same thing was about to happen again, and as she was very hurriedly saying goodbye, so in a panic I said that I would be right back and shut the door. I ran inside and got my colleague. I told him that the entitled mother had turned up, and I did not know what to say because probably just aren't too expecting of that to happen 2 days in a row. She went out to talk to the entitled mother while I looked at after the kids that had already been dropped off. She came back in without the kid and explained what happened. So, the entitled mother is originally from another country, so when my colleague explained the situation, the entitled mother pretended that she couldn't understand her, but we were in luck as the parent of the other kid I was bringing in spoke the same language as the entitled mother and explained it to her in their language. The entitled mother had no choice but to accept the situation and leave with the kid. I'm currently off holiday, so I'm really not too sure if she did try it again the day after that, but honestly, I would not put it past her. That's just how ridiculous this lady was. Oh my gosh, I feel bad for these poor workers literally just having to deal with these Karens day after day. I mean, seriously, I think I might have to quit my job after day one of someone just like reverse kidnapping a kid where you have to take the kid. I really just don't think I'd be vibing with that, but yeah, that's up to you if you want to quit or not. Yeah, I do hope you guys liked the story. If you did, just please like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton. And, yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hope you have a good day. And this is Neon saying see ya and bye.